Welcome. This is episode number 8 of Carl Knows People podcast. There's the 8 right there. Today I have a guest. We don't know each other well. We played shows together 30-ish years ago in that range. That's scary. Played some shows in John's basement. I don't know if we actually played anywhere else. We may have played, I'll ask you later, but we may have played another show elsewhere, but we'll find that out. Today's guest is Danny Adamson. How are you doing, Dan?
Sensational. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad you agreed to do this. I reached out. We're Facebook friends. We have that history in common. So I figured this would be a fun podcast. You have some stories and some accolades that I want to get on record.
Yeah.
So this might be, I usually start off, I ask if you remember first time we met.
God, no, I do not. I mean,
I don't either.
I almost feel like it might have been at a concert at Mount Si High School.
Okay, that's the one I was going to ask you about.
I thought so.
You did play at Mount Si.
We had played there, yeah, at one point.
Okay. And did my band play?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, super foggy memories, but I
don't know if it was Silent Groove or Within that played that show.
I want to say it was probably Within. That's the one I remember the most.
Okay, yeah. That's the one. Yeah, that's the one we kind of played John's. That was how that band ended up, just through different member changes and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, so it was either Mount Si or John's, one of the two. You played in the Green, which became the Waffle Stomper.
Oh, both amazing band names. Yes,
Waffle Stomp. So I have my own theory on, because we changed our band name right before we quit. I felt the end was coming, and I thought maybe a band name change would help spark a little interest again, and it didn't work. Why did you feel the need to change the Green?
God, I mean,
or was it your idea?
No, it was kind of the whole band. I mean, couple of reasons. I think that was like the time Green Day was getting big, and although we liked Green Day, and we had like a poppy sound, you know, I don't know, we like bands like Jawbreaker and things that were a little darker than Green Day. We weren't quite as poppy, but anyways, lots of those comparisons, right? People would be like, "Oh, you're called the Green because you like Green Day," things like that. I was not a drug user. I don't know at the time if the people in my band were using drugs yet, but you know, a lot of pot references too, which didn't really gel with kind of what we want.
In your band or in Green Day?
In our band, like, you're called the Green because
I see what you're saying.
Because you guys like to smoke, you know, and it's like, no, dude, like maybe we should just change this. Let's just change our name and just stop all that.
And Waffle Stomper, that's the pattern a boot makes. Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That was near the end, right? That didn't last long.
No, I mean, that was the name of the band for a couple of years for sure.
How long was that band together?
Oh God. And I have some interesting stories about how that band got together too, if we want to go there. But
we will.
That I graduated high school in 93, so that band was 92 probably.
Yeah.
Through 97.
Yeah. Okay, we graduated the same year, so
okay,
that makes sense. And my first band started in 92.
Okay.
High school band. Okay, so we'll get back to all that, but now we're going to go to your early life, where you were born, grew up, childhood, all that kind of stuff. Where were you born?
I think the hospital I was born at was in Renton.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where did you live for the first years?
I don't remember that. I mean, earliest memories were like in Lake City, North Seattle.
Okay.
So my mom kind of grew up in Ravenna. So started out there until I was ready to start school. And then I actually didn't know about this until very recently, probably 5 years ago, when my mom told me, I knew we moved to the east side for schools. I went to school over in Redmond, Kirkland area. That's how I was part of that scene where I met you. But I had heard in my adult life, about this whole thing called the white flight, which was people leaving Seattle when they started busing kids to different schools, like in the South End, and people left to go to places like the East Side so they wouldn't have to be bused. And loosely that was called the white flight. Not that that's the reason my mom didn't say, yes, we moved you over there because you were white, but
so it was a racial thing.
It kind of was. That was,
people didn't want you schooling with black kids.
Well, just like,
or dangerous kids.
I mean, a lot of it was just that you'd had to go to a school that was like 45 minutes on the other side of town, which was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I don't think my parents necessarily would have minded the diversity of that, and that in the
Yeah,
end,
I'm not saying your parents, I'm just
yeah, yeah,
saying
yeah. But I mean,
that reason. Yeah.
some were, and in the end, that would have been actually a pretty cool byproduct product of having
Yeah.
done that. Is I would have not just been around only white kids my whole life. So,
Yeah,
um,
same.
yeah. So
Well, not
that's
no, that's not true. I was around white kids when I moved to the east side, but I grew up in Othello, and it was a pretty even 50-50 Mexican kids and white
uh
kids,
huh. Yeah, yeah. I
where I grew up.
lived a couple years of my life actually. I lived in Okanagan. You know where that is?
I do. I was
Yeah.
born in Omak.
Oh, were you? Nice. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I spent like kindergarten and first grade over there because I had
Oh,
relatives
nice.
over there, and my dad is from Wenatchee. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
That's where my brother lives right now. He's in
Hmm.
Wenatchee, and I got an aunt and uncle who's lived there their whole for
Nice.
my whole life. Um, what was childhood like in your house? Were your parents together?
So when I say my dad's from Wenatchee, that's my stepdad who's been around since I was age 5.
Okay.
I don't know my biological father. He
Oh, okay.
just wasn't cool and kind of left the picture when I was little, like 1, probably something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
So, of course, with Facebook and people connecting online later in life, I found out I have 2 half brothers who live in Oregon,
Oh,
from that same dad who lived down there. But I had no interest in meeting him at the time. But I
yeah.
am mildly connected with those guys, and they're cool, and they kind of
Oh,
look
that's
like
nice.
me. My wife was like, "Whoa, this is kind of a trip. Those guys kind of look like you, and this is weird."
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that happened. But yeah,
Yeah. I find it interesting when people have, siblings like that. My oldest brother was adopted. So it's the
that's
family
cool.
dynamic always interests me. My parents didn't think they could have kids naturally, so they adopted. Then surprise, surprise, 2 kids
Wow.
later, naturally, me and my other brother were born.
Oh, right
Um,
on. Is
so
that older one still in the picture?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, cool. That's really
yeah.
awesome.
He was just raised just like, you know, we knew he was adopted. They never made it a secret. It was just he was just
A
my older brother. So
adopting is rad. It's like
yeah,
saints, right? It's
yeah,
people who adopt are super cool.
yeah. So it was your mom and your stepdad, that's where you grew up. Was it musical in your house?
No, not at all. Um, they, my dad like poured concrete, and my mom worked at places that made circuit boards. So
Oh yeah.
it was a pretty low income, chill.
Hmm.
They just worked hard and did their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are they still alive?
yeah, they're still around.
Nice. And still
They
together?
Yeah, they moved up to Snohomish and now they live down south of Centralia, so they're around.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So what developed your taste in music? Do you have any brothers or sisters that you did live with, or just those half brothers that you found later?
And my dad slash stepdad, he had some kids too, so I was actually around those guys a little bit when growing up, but
Uh-huh.
they didn't live with us. They weren't really around.
Okay.
But to answer your question of how getting into music, I guess if I think about it, getting into music was directly correlated with skateboarding, right?
Okay.
Like I grew
Yeah.
up like big, huge into skateboarding, late elementary school through, until people started driving. Then we kind of stopped skating, especially as skating kind of shifted. I grew up skating like I actually remember of all weird things being at Big John's house one time, seeing a skate video someone was playing on TV, a VHS tape, of the new school style of skating, because that's when I had kind of phased out because skateboarding went from that, from that model of like Bones Brigade to all of a
Yeah.
sudden skaters are wearing like fat pants and chain wallets and calling girls bitches, and like it kind of shifted like
Yeah.
the whole what a skater kind of was. But anyways, we were just aging out of it at the time. But growing up listening to things like skate rock tapes,
Yeah.
all the bands that were on there, and that kind of transitioned into like The Cure and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so just always had thought it would be cool to get a guitar and try to figure out what that was all about.
So when you said John's place, is it the one that we always played shows at with the
Yeah.
basement, or his first house?
Yep.
That one. Okay.
The
That's where I
shows
met
on.
him too. I met him at that at the house that had all the shows. I didn't know them at their old house, or the
Yep.
first house that they moved into. They moved into town.
Yeah, I heard you guys talking about that on the podcast with him. But yeah, I didn't hang out there a lot. I just
Yeah.
randomly remember being there and seeing a Rodney Mullen skate video and being like, Rodney Mullen wasn't cool. He was like a weird freestyler, and now he's like the cool, because the tricks started changing too, right? Like,
Yeah.
so. Anyways,
I was never into skating. I had a skateboard, but I never never tried it. It wasn't that big in Othello where I grew up.
Hmm.
Over here, it started getting bigger around high school, but I tried to ride a little bit, and I knew that wasn't going to be a good idea, so I stopped.
Nice.
Um, I do believe we're just gonna skip forward a little bit. We can keep
Yeah.
jumping back and
Let's
forth if you
go.
want. You were the first concert or the first show put on by John, I
Yeah.
believe.
I,
You did a birthday party for one of their friends, one of
yeah.
Liz's boyfriends.
Nice.
Dude, was it just you guys? Do you
Any
remember?
any chance to play a show, right? Even if it's a birthday party, who
Oh
cares?
yeah,
I don't remember the details of who played. I heard you talking with John on your podcast, and I, I don't know if you guys could remember. Obviously, you couldn't if you're asking me, but
yeah. I
I, I
wasn't
f-
there.
I feel like there would have been another band. I can't remember who though.
You would think
Yeah.
because they started getting he'd book way too many bands at the end, and I got a
Like
story about
6.
that. See if you remember it the same as I do. It involved you and I and a guitar being well. I'll just get to it later. When did you? So you said 92, the Green. Why don't you get into? You said you had stories about how that band formed. Well, first, no, let's go back. When did you get your first guitar?
I got my first guitar, um, I think in 8th grade. So semi important piece of learning how to play music in my history is that I'm left-handed.
Okay.
So that has always kind of sucked.
Yeah.
Like wanting to get my first guitar, my parents not wanting to go spend a bunch of money. I think they got me just like an acoustic guitar at a thrift store that we
Okay.
switched the strings around, so I could figure out if I liked to play or not. So I did
So
that
acoustic was your
first one, and then
Yeah.
second one I was probably in early high school. Got a right-handed guitar off of a friend who sold it to me for cheap, like a Strat knockoff.
Mm-hmm.
Switch the strings around, where the knobs are all hitting my arm when I play.
Right.
So that was
So you didn't try to reverse it and just play it upside down. You just restrung it.
yep, restrung it.
Okay.
Yeah, even though all the every guitar store where you go have that procedure done, they're all trying to convince me to play right-handed anyway, because
Mm-hmm.
it kind of makes sense, right? You're doing all the tricky fretting things with your bad hand.
Yeah,
Right.
that did never make sense to me.
I know. So they tried, but I didn't switch. And then my first real guitar, when I was probably whatever, a junior in high school, I saved up enough money to order a Gibson SG from Gibson, because
Oh.
I had to wait for it for like 9 months until
Oh, geez.
they had enough left-handed orders to make a left-handed batch.
Oh, gotcha.
So that was welcome to
interesting.
my world of being
Right.
a pain in the ass left-handed guitar player.
Yeah. Did you do any bands, like band through school, like school band, anything
Mm-mm.
like that?
Nope,
No interest.
never played any instruments. We didn't have bunch of money growing up, and even just like renting the instrument you would need to play in band kind of wasn't part of the cards so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My parents, it seemed like, well, in Othello, band was a big thing. Like almost everybody was in school band.
Hmm.
So my parents they always, they of course look for cheap because they weren't.
What'd you play?
I played trumpet.
Nice.
So I think four of the first 5 episodes of the podcast, the first instrument was trumpet.
Oh wow.
So that was interesting. And I had a knack for it. I was always first chair.
Okay.
If you know
Nice.
what that means.
Uh-huh. My kid
Oh,
was
okay.
super into band. He's a big musician. He goes to college for music.
Oh yeah, yeah. I need to ask you about your son because he's got some accolades himself with the stuff he's been able to do. Drumming,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, he's a beast. Yeah, he's like one of the best drummers I know at
Yeah,
this point. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
yeah. You're the only no, I remember Derek. He was your bass player, right?
Hmm.
And I don't remember the other. Was it a 3-piece?
It started as a 4-piece and then switched
Okay.
to a 3-piece.
Okay, let's get into this. You said you had stories about how that.
Yeah, how it started.
Yeah.
So we were fucking around, just like getting together as most people do when you first start, and playing just songs of other bands, that you
Yeah.
like. And that was, of course, in the grunge era, right? Like we're talking about like Nirvana, Bleach, right? Like before Nirvana broke, but
Yep.
you knew who they were, and yeah, you knew about the OK Hotel, where all the concerts were in Seattle that you could get to if you could get a ride out there, as
which I never did.
a 15-year-old or whatever. So
Yeah.
then Nirvana. So we were doing our thing, just kind of making music. Didn't really have a drummer, or maybe had someone that kind of beat on the drums a little bit. nothing serious though. And then we wanted to get a little more serious, and we knew of this kid that was in school band, right? Like, I don't even know what instrument he played. I don't even
Yeah.
think he played drums. I think he played a different instrument in school band. But we knew of this kid named Eric, who we just kind of knew who he was. He was
Yeah.
a year younger than us, but the
Now,
rumor.
when you're saying us, who are we referring to here?
So that would be okay. So that would be this band, the Green slash Waffle Stomper. Started out with me and a guy named Ben Davis, and then there was this random other guy named Miles who played bass, who didn't last long. But the three of us, we went to the same school, Lake Washington High School in Kirkland, and we heard of this kid that played drums because we had heard the rumor that he was Kurt Cobain's cousin. So we're like, oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
We're Nirvana fan. We like all this Seattle music, so let's find out about this kid. And he wasn't crusty or a punk or alternative or whatever you want to call it. He was just this band kid, and we're like, oh, but you can play drums. All right, let's give this a shot. And turns out he was a really good drummer. And then,
Was he Kurt Cobain's cousin?
He totally was.
Oh, nice.
Like he just sent me oh my God, I have such weird stories. I will, you might want to come back to this time period, but I'll fast forward like a year or two down the line, where like we're in this band, got our new bass player, which is Derek, who you mentioned.
Yeah. The mean looking guy.
Yeah, exactly. Sweetheart, but resting mean guy face.
Big guy.
So Eric, the drummer, Kurt Cobain's cousin, he's like Kurt, and Nirvana is already broken at this point. Like, Nevermind's out; they're the hugest thing on the fucking planet. Yes. And he's like, hey dudes, my family is having like a weird, like family only, like little wedding reception for Kurt and Courtney, who just got married. You guys should come over. And we're like, yeah, like fuck yeah, like that'd be awesome. Like, of course. Yeah. We have our little grunge boners going or whatever. So Derek, the bass player, couldn't come, or maybe he didn't want to because he thought that was lame, which it kind of was lame. We were just like, fanboying out at the time. But we went there and they had it, and those guys were both there. And I mean, Courtney Love especially, I remember being like insanely strung out, right. like barely able to talk. Not that we talked to him. We kind of just hid out in the basement because we felt a little bit weird being up in their business. But he sent me a photo the other day of us like standing behind them, like opening a gift.
Really?
I'll send you the photo.
Oh yeah, that'd be
when
awesome.
We're done. But it was like, so it was the most interesting and cool thing to say that happened to me, but also like the fucking worst thing ever, because what happened? The family is all like, hey, you guys should play some songs. And we're like, oh,
did they really?
We're like,
oh no.
Oh, we're like, okay. In our bands, it's like early on. We're not great we're not to the point where we ended, right? Like we're probably like maybe 30% as whether you wanted to say we were good or not, or you liked us or not, like we were probably 30% of our ability at that time.
Yeah.
And we didn't have our bass player, and it's just like, they made us play a couple songs, and it was so embarrassing and weird. He came down for like 30 seconds of one song and like bobbed his head for a second. And
really,
it was the weirdest thing.
Oh man, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing to hear almost.
Right.
Secondhand embarrassment.
I know, right? I'm old though. I can live with it now.
Yeah. We had something similar, but we never met the guy. But we had a classmate who was his cousin was married to Jeff Tate of Queensryche.
Okay.
So we never got to meet him, but like we know somebody that knows somebody.
Well, what's really, I mean, this is like, I don't think this is, I mean, it's totally speculation, but I think there could totally be some truth to this. Like, talk about timing being everything. Like, if our band was like a little bit further along, like, I don't know, what would you put? I would probably put like an 80% chance on the fact that Kurt Cobain would have been like, you guys should like tour with us or like open for us on a show or some shows, right? Like, cause it's his fucking cousin.
That, or let me give you a tape to the label that I'm on.
Sure. Yeah.
You could share it that way.
Oh, I mean, they were close enough cousins, and he was like, he would have been supportive enough that if we were like kind of ready to take that step, or just like a couple years older, cause we were still in high school, right? I mean, timing is everything in the world of music.
Yeah. So that guy, the cousin of Kurt Cobain, was he
Yeah.
not in the band when you guys started getting better and
Yeah, he was.
getting your shit together? So,
He was the whole
Kurt was
time.
probably gone by then.
Right.
Is that what the deal? Okay, I
Right.
gotcha.
Or they
More
were just
timing.
or they were just too big and famous at that point, right? That it
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
I mean, yeah.
too big of an ask. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah. I have a guy that I'm going to interview. Um, I went to college with him a few years back. We were both the old guys in college, but he was in a band. Well, he's a really good bass player. He was in a band called Fits of Depression.
I remember that band.
Then no, he was sorry, he wasn't in Fits of Depression. He subbed bass playing for Fits of Depression, and they opened up for Nirvana and somebody else in the Key Arena
Okay.
just for like one show. And so he got to meet everybody. So I'm interested to hear that story from him.
Was it that one? Did Helmet also play that?
Maybe I don't know.
Because we were at that show because of his relationship with Kurt Cobain, because that's like right as they broke, right? Like they're finally now they're playing the big arena, and we got to go backstage. It was kind of weird.
So I wasn't into Nirvana really at all.
Mm-hmm.
I went to
You're a metal guy.
Metallica. Yeah, I went to Metallica and Guns N' Roses.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 92 maybe, and there's some war words between Axl and Kurt Cobain.
Oh, interesting.
And he said Axl Rose gets on the mic and said, "I invited your boy Kurt Cobain to play, but he'd rather be at home with his ugly bitch wife or whatever."
Oh, snap!
So that would have been interesting if Nirvana played with them too.
Oh wow!
Interesting lineup.
Wow. Yeah.
And
right.
Motorhead also.
Oh, nice.
There.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah, they were loud, very loud. Yeah, I'm a metal guy growing up, which makes the dynamic of John's shows pretty interesting. He did mix up the genres,
well, yeah,
fairly good. He almost had to.
Or just all the straight edge hardcore bands, like that was such metal, right?
Yeah.
All these clean cut kids playing metal, a lot of those. Yeah.
Now you guys became friendly with that bunch, with that scene?
So yes and no. Like we didn't hang with them much. There wasn't much overlap except for, just show overlap kind of and scene overlap in those days. I was always a non-drug guy. And I thought it was kind of just the whole like straight edge, we're gonna do the X thing and like be this like, I don't know, there almost seemed like there was this almost this like bravado-y jockness to it. Mm-hmm. In a weird way, to some of it at least, that kind of turned me off. So
same with me. I never wanted to be straight edge. I wasn't ever a drug user either.
Straight,
drank, never smoked, nothing.
Straight without the edge is what they always called me. Yeah. Right.
So the reason I asked, Eric did Dave Larson's podcast.
Okay.
10 years ago. I did Dave's too. And during his podcast, at the bottom of the page, they shared pictures, and it was like some wedding, and Derek was like, all the Undertow guys and everything. And I was like, just looking from the outside in or inside out, however you want to put it, I never thought you guys were part of that scene. So that really surprised me that they were like, that you were even social, or he was even social with them.
Yeah.
But apparently they had some kind of relationship if he asked him to be on the podcast.
Well, yeah. And I think all of our relationships with those guys like developed over the years, right? Yeah. Like I know those guys way more now, some of them, than I did back then. Yeah. And totally dig them. They're all good dudes. Yeah.
I'm the opposite. Like I never felt really a part of that scene. I mean, I played in that scene, but I didn't feel part of it really.
Yeah.
And I've never kept touch with anybody except John, because we're family, I was in his family for years.
Yeah.
So when did you guys feel, besides the Kurt Cobain incident, that you were ready to start playing out for people?
I don't know. I mean, we were trying to play out as soon as you possibly could, right? I mean, we were playing out before that weird wedding thing happened, but the first show we ever played was it was before we were called the Green. We had, for one show, we had the also really cool band name called Cousin It, which is so dumb.
Got it.
But this was a show, I don't even know who the hell put it on. Somebody that had like a little bit of production experience, because it was at the Bellevue YMCA, which is I don't know if you remember back in the day, Fugazi played there.
Yes.
It was like
I remember hearing, I didn't see, but yeah.
One of the most famous shows. Yeah, exactly. Because it was too big for the Redmond Firehouse to
Yes.
hold that. So, but it was before the Redmond Firehouse was doing shows. Someone put a show on at the Bellevue Y with like 5 or 6 bands. And we got to play that, and it was like there was like 500 people there for our first show, and this was with the earlier bass player, so we were like not that good, but we did okay, and like people kind of thought we were good because people just weren't used to shows then, right? And so they're like, oh, you guys are kind of cool, even though if they had any musical taste or experience, they'd be like, oh, you guys are pretty amateur. But 1007 played that show.
Okay.
I think Undertow
your first show was 1007?
1007 played with us. Yeah, Undertow might have played that show too.
Man, we got some things in common.
There's another band called the Daves, which I don't even know. I didn't hear anything about them after that, but I remember they played too. So it was a big thing. So yeah, to answer your question, we were definitely trying to play out as early as
92-ish.
Maybe even 91. If that's we could have started in the later part of 91. I don't have a good recollect. I'd have to dig deep. Yeah.
And when you think back, those time frames seem so like long.
Yeah.
They weren't. It's just like a short amount of time, but it's so formidable in what you were doing back then.
Totally.
So my first show with Sally and Groove was with Sabidril, who you probably hadn't heard of. 1007 and Undertow. That was our first show at Mount Si High School. One of those hi-fi shows that you were part of later. So when did you go from a 4-piece to a 3-piece?
So we just the other guy was maybe losing some interest or something like that, and he was maybe being disinterested at a practice once and like fell asleep, and we just like kept playing as a 3-piece, and we're like, oh, that actually doesn't sound bad, like we could probably pull that off. So I don't remember if he fully self-selected out or if we kind of just were like, we're doing this now.
And he was another guitar player?
He was the other guitar player.
Okay.
Exactly. So
you felt comfortable enough holding that whole end down, just your guitar playing?
Yeah, I mean those kind of bands didn't do any kind of soloing or shredding. I'm purely rhythm guitar guy by nature. So
yeah.
Okay,
I'm going to backtrack just a little bit. My last podcast, I forgot to ask my core questions. Do you remember the first record that you bought, or two things? Do you remember the first one that maybe someone bought for you? And do you remember the first one you bought with your own money?
I'll tweak that a little bit, but fuck yeah, I remember the first. I got 2 records were my first records, and this probably happened to everybody. No, I'm
if
just kidding.
If you say AC/DC, I'm going to lose my mind.
No, this is a pretty unique way to get your first records. Which I'm going to just go on a limb and say no other guests of yours will say this. If they do, you got to introduce them to me because that would be a weird connection. All right. I got, for my parents signing us up for the Disney Channel in 4th grade, we got, for that subscription, you got two free records. One was a copy of Footloose, and the other was a copy of Huey Lewis Sports. So
that's a good one there.
Those are my first 2, which they're both
still listen to Huey Lewis.
Yeah, they're both pretty good records historically.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I don't know which one I bought first with my own money. Because we used to do a lot of shoplifting of tapes. and CDs, which I'm not proud of, but
well, do you remember the first one you lifted?
Well, I don't know that, but I just remember the first like, these are bands I'm into.
Yeah,
I'm going to a record store and obtaining this, and it's like speaking to me or changing my life. Would be Head on the Door by The Cure.
Okay. High schoolish or middle school?
That was definitely middle school. That was probably 8th grade.
Okay. Was that their current album? I don't know anything about The Cure. I know about them. I know who they are. Never into them. Shocking.
It was maybe the current album, if not, or it was around that one, and then the next real album that came out was the Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me one, with the big lips on it. So it was right in that window. Yeah.
Okay. And you heard were they getting radio play? How did you hear? Or was that more the skater
scene? Yeah.
Okay.
They weren't really radio yet. I don't think they really got heavy radio till like Just Like Heaven, which would have been that next album.
Were you influenced by friends? Were they influenced by you?
Probably. Definitely influenced by friends. I mean, right? That's like how the internet has changed things, right? Because no longer can you only find out about cool bands from like your friend's older brother who went and visited a friend in St. Louis and learned about a band, so It must have been friends. I know that guy who left our band, Ben Davis. I met him in middle school, and he was big time into the Smiths, which
Okay.
is the Cure and the Smiths kind of can go pretty hand in hand. So he was a big part of how that kind of came into play.
See, I never had that experience. Well, I had two older brothers, but I never had that experience of listen to this band like that nobody really knows yet. Like they're not famous. We would
Uh huh.
look at Hit Parade or magazine or whatever those metal
Yes.
magazines and like look
Guitar
for the
magazine.
look for the Kiss if it had a Kiss poster in it or if Kiss was on the cover, we were getting it. Me and my brother, that was our band was
Nice.
Kiss.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so that's how we usually learn about our music. But I kind of wish I had that experience because I never knew like obscure. I think the most obscure one that I remember was, well, now I'm going to blank on their name. They're a punk band in Seattle in the '80s. The Accused.
Oh, yeah,
Someone
yeah.
someone showed me The Accused, and they did a cover of "I'd Love to Change the World," and that was like maybe the most obscure because like anybody that I told about, they didn't know who they were. Then
Yeah, I bet.
I went to a show. It was Lamb of God. They played with Himsa when Himsa was just starting out.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I think that's the night that Himsa got signed because the band that was supposed to be with them got stuck somewhere. So they just asked, "Is there anybody here?" And I think John was working the door,
Oh, wow.
and he was just starting out. Then Lamb of God heard him play and called their label and said, pay attention to these guys. So I think that
Nice.
was the night Himsa kind of took off.
Okay.
Um, but the singer of Lamb of God talked about how Accused was the most legendary Seattle punk band. I was like,
Interesting.
well, apparently they were. So I don't know. I don't know. I didn't really hear much
Nice.
from them.
Yeah, I don't know much
Um,
of their stuff, but I know of them for sure.
yeah. Some people consider legendary. There's different versions for different people.
I should give them a shot, right? I might like them now.
Maybe, yeah, maybe me too. I don't know. I
I
didn't really like them, but I like that one song. I thought it was interesting because I heard they told me it was a cover, and I can't remember how I heard the original. It must have been. I don't know. I really don't know how I heard the original. I can't. I forgot where. Oh yeah, the first record.
First
So
record.
the other thing is, do you remember the first concert you went to?
Oh, yes.
I want to say like big shit, like big. If you were into arena shows or anything like that, the first something like that.
No, never really went to big concerts like that, or any concerts until I started getting into music.
Yeah,
I remember I still to this day, even though they changed what kind of ink and they changed how you can get into Bumbershoot, but
yeah,
I still remember to this day how to draw the stamp they used every year at Bumbershoot.
nice.
And it was a 4-day festival, right? And it would
Yeah,
be they would change ink every day, so it would be purple, blue, green, or red would be the
right.
4 colors of the stamp.
Nice.
So
Okay.
we would bring those color Sharpies with us, and we would go in and watch people coming out and be like, "Cool, today's purple." And so we would draw
Awesome.
the stamp on our hand and then smear it a little bit, as if we were
Right.
like in the pit or whatever
You're
the fuck
sweaty.
you want to
Right.
say, right? And then just walk in. So now they changed to glow in the dark stuff, whatever, infrared
Right.
ink, and then now it's probably just wristbands. But I I remember being kind of mind blown at that pivotal young age, whatever, 8th or 9th grade, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Soundgarden played there, and I
Okay.
saw them, and they had this giant skull, like a Danzig style skull that like descended from the top, and
Yeah.
it was pretty cool because they were getting kind of big at the time. They weren't grunge hadn't popped really yet, but they were.
Yeah.
That was the first one I remember volunteering to go to, of knowing that I would probably like to see this band.
Cool.
Later, and my first arena one was probably Neil Diamond with my mom. Like
Nice.
a handful of years later. Like,
I love Neil Diamond.
oh, love
Probably
him
because my mom is so into him. Um,
totally.
my first Bumbershoot experience was Joan Jett
Nice,
at the arena.
nice.
She was the headliner that year. And I
Yes.
did a bunch of other ones. I think the Ramones played one year they played in the football stadium next
Uh huh.
to
Yep. Memorial
and I
Stadium.
yeah, Memorial Stadium. I can't remember who they played with. I'm thinking I'll have to ask John. I think with Metallica, maybe.
Oh, wow.
But I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't think no, I didn't see Metallica there because I only saw Metallica at the Monsters of Rock. That was my first show, Monsters of Rock 1988.
Lots of bands at that one, right?
There's five, yeah.
Yeah.
Kingdom Come opened, like I was second, fucking third. Scorpions, Van Halen. So
Nice.
that was a nice lineup
That's
for
insane.
for first concert. 9
Yeah,
hours.
right. Shitting your
Jeez.
pants. Yeah.
Seriously,
Yeah.
that was scary. So you weren't a big concert goer then?
No, not till it started playing music, and then it's mostly like $5 punk shows, right?
Smaller shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you even meet John to get to play there?
No idea. Must have been
Just
kind
a
of
show?
through the scene at the old firehouse.
Well, maybe he saw you and he wanted to.
Yeah.
Because I never went to shows there. I went to a few shows there later on.
Yeah, I was super involved in that place, like from the start. And we played like some of the earliest shows there ever.
Yeah, I think I saw Earth Crisis there. Undertow played, Dead Skin Mask. The hardcore shows.
Hey, by the way, you guys were talking on. It must have been the episode with John about seeing. Maybe it was seeing Undertow, or maybe you talked about Trial. I forget who you were talking about. You were talking about a small place in Redmond that you couldn't remember the name of.
Small place in yeah.
Was it
kind
Magic?
Subway.
Was it Magic Studios?
That doesn't sound right.
All right. Anyways,
I don't know. It was in an alley, and it was just a sliding glass door where people came in.
Yeah, that
and
might
seriously,
be it.
there was like 5 people there. There was like the band and like 2 people. So
Yeah.
I don't. And there's another big show going on that night.
Interesting.
Big in the scene, but we had a chance to to play a different place, and they were actually interested in us playing. So we took that up. John was there, but he must have went to the other show afterwards, because I know he wouldn't miss the other show, and I don't remember who that was. Did you ever play Velvet Elvis?
Totally.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
We were on the cusp. We were about ready to play. Then our band broke up. We were going to open up for Undertow.
Yeah, I played a show there with Sicko and then a band. We got them on the bill because they're from Richmond, Virginia. They're friends of ours. They're called Whirly Bird. So we got them on that bill because they gave us a good show in Richmond when we went on tour.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, let's talk about tour. I didn't know you guys toured.
Okay.
What year was that? Well, so you may have toured with more than one band, but the Green days.
Right. With those days,
not Green Days. That was dumb.
Yeah. Touche. And we smoked pot. No, I'm just kidding. Right. So that band, that was like our goal, and it's so funny, so nostalgic, and so cute. But I still have like my notes from booking a tour, which is so different. Like I'm not under the illusion that there's a bunch of 28-year-olds listening to this podcast once you put it out, but what young people don't realize, like the difference of booking a tour nowadays with like email and free phone calls. I mean, as a poor fucking punk kid, I spent like $500 on phone bills, like trying to book a tour.
Wow.
And how do you find venues, half of which are someone's basement, right? If you're doing and so like I don't know if you know that zine, Maximum Rock and Roll, pretty big zine out of the Bay Area. They put out a yearly, really nice thick issue. They put out an issue called "Book Your Own Fucking Life," is what it was called. So like if I lived in a punk house and we did shows in our basement, I could give them our information and they would put it in like the classified, under the state of Washington, or like
That's
Seattle.
Cool. I never heard of that before.
So, other kids could call you and be like, can we do a show at your house and whatever. So
I wonder if that's how John did it at his place. I wonder if he just word of mouth with him. I don't know. How should I ask him?
I feel like his is probably more word of mouth. Like I never lived in a house that was that established that we wanted to even put an ad in there. But he probably had as many bands as he could handle that wanted to play at his house anyway. Versus like 30 other ones calling you that you never heard of. But so part of the tour was booked by like just calling people in Texas, being like, can we play a show please at your house? It was just such a crazy different mindset. But that band, our goal was to try to do touring as soon as we could. Like right when I graduated high school that summer, we did like a West Coast tour, where we played like Idaho Falls in Idaho, and then maybe Salt Lake City, and then a couple things in Tucson, Arizona, because we had friends there.
Right.
And then we like essentially just drove home from there. Like totally inefficient.
Like 4 or 5 show tour, something like that.
Totally inefficient, but like we just wanted to do it, right? So
and we didn't even make gas money. at the
Yeah.
shows?
Oh,
Probably
yeah,
not.
yeah. We did a pretty good job of not losing money on tours for some weird reason.
Yeah.
Um, we were just kind of smart about it. But
So what was the traveling situation? Did you rent like a van,
I
your
just
own personal vehicles?
Yeah, I just had a big black van that
Okay,
we built a loft in, and we drove that every time we toured.
nice. How many
The
did you do?
So we did a couple West Coast things, and then in the 1996, I still have the printout of like the itinerary and all the contact numbers of the person in that town. Um, that was in 19 spring of 1996. That was the last
Okay,
tour, and that was a full US tour that was like 35, 40 days, which was
really?
awesome. Like the
I was
best.
so out of touch with music at that point.
Yeah,
Um,
best time.
nice. Yeah, I was a father in
All
'95, and I kind of just put everything aside and did
100%.
that. Um, yeah, I didn't know you guys were even. So when did you guys finally like call it quits? See,
I don't
that's why I
know.
was thinking the Waffle Stomper didn't last that long because I fell out of the scene. So I
Yeah,
guess
we
that's me.
yeah, we made like a CD and then toured off that. So that's how I know we were around for a little while um under that name. But yeah, probably not too far after that. Like probably broke up within 9 months
Yeah.
to a year after that. Yeah, and that tour was cool. I mean, it was like definitely half basement shows, right, where there's four people
Mm.
there. But we had a couple really good shows that we anchored it off of. We played with Avail in Richmond, Virginia, which is their hometown, and that was like out of control. I think we played with Blink 182 on that tour before they were anything.
Seriously,
I mean, it
nice.
was it was like a well attended show. They weren't. I shouldn't say they weren't anything, but they were like, it was like a
They weren't.
400. It's like a 400 person 5 band show in like Mesa, Arizona, or something like that. So yeah, we played with a couple of good. We got a couple of good shows on that tour that like made it worth doing.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when you do a tour like that, is it just you, or did you take somebody with you, like a buddy band, or is it just
Nope.
you
We were
just
not.
played with whoever was
Yeah, we weren't cool
in
enough
that
to do
town?
that. We're just
Yeah,
trying to latch on to any show we could.
yeah. Because I
Yeah.
think when John did Basement, when his shows, I think when people did tour, I think a lot of them were like one or two bands that were together.
Interesting.
They
Yeah.
kind of, I could be wrong, but I definitely know there were bands that weren't from our area on the same shows.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I know Integrity played there. Snapcase played there. I think they played together, actually, Integrity and Snapcase,
Oh
same
wow.
show. That was the biggest show that I think there was probably, I'm going to say 500 people,
Jesus.
probably 250 inside. And that's
Oh
all
my
that place
god.
can hold, the 250 outside just listening. It was like
Oh my
crazy,
god.
crazy show.
That is insane.
And kind of impromptu because I don't think it was planned that way.
Wow.
They just happened to be in the area at the same time.
That's wild.
Yeah. Actually, when our bands played, was it more than once? It may have been two, three. I can't remember.
Oh, I feel it for sure more than once.
I
Yeah.
only remember. I just remember looking at old flyers. So the show I was referencing earlier, I think things got a little heated between us because it was your guys' PA. John overbooked that show. I think there was like seven bands or something.
Okay.
Um, you played before us, and we played after that. And you guys wanted to leave, but it was your equipment that we
Oh,
were using. So from what I recall, you may not remember. You stood right in front of me, right in front of the stage, arms crossed, like looking as bored as you could look, pissed off that we were still playing and you guys wanted to leave.
oh, nice.
Our guitar player was mad about that, and he took his guitar and he stabbed you with his headstock when you were standing there. Do you recall any of that?
You mean this wound I still have?
Yeah,
No,
let
I'm
me
just
see
kidding.
it.
No, I don't. I don't remember any of it, but I believe you because I was a totally different person then. It was just like ego band guy thinking I'm cooler than anyone else. Like
Yeah,
that is within the realm of possibility for sure.
yeah, because
I
blend.
apologize.
No, it's fine. Blended. I didn't like the guitar player anyway. We booted him not too long. I think that was the show that got him tossed
Oh wow.
because Undertow was there and he was just being a jerk and he didn't understand in that scene. We didn't want to break ties with people in that scene and be viewed as assholes. So him doing that pissed us off and we kicked him out. But
Got
when
it.
it came to his friends, be very respectful. Don't say shit because and his friends' bands weren't doing anything. Um, he would be like, "Hey, let's go play the show. There's gonna be record connections there." And it's just his friends being stoned. There was nobody there.
Nice.
It was just a basement show, and everybody was
Uh-huh.
high. So there was no record execs
Oh,
there.
funny. Funny, funny.
Um, we met him at. Well, this is going to segue into another story I was asked to ask you about.
Sure.
We met him at Denny's. We were looking for a guitar player. He was, metal. We wanted someone maybe that can play solos because we were still doing solos at the time.
Mhm.
And he had a Motley Crue. He was wearing a tank top and a Motley Crue hat backwards. He had long hair. No idea if he played or not. He could just been a music fan. So we just approached his table. Hey, do you play guitar? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you good? Yeah. You want to, try out? He's like, yeah. So we
Oh,
we
that's
gave him
funny.
our tape, and he learned our songs, and
Wow.
he was in the band from that
Oh,
point
how
on.
funny. That's rad.
Yeah. So that's going to segue into the question that I was asked to ask you by
Mhm.
John. Do
Oh,
you remember Redmond Denny's seeing Steve Perry?
I do not.
Really?
No.
He was trying to confirm if that actually happened. He knows it happened, but he swears you and him went to Denny's together, and when you showed up, it was a corner booth or something that the rest of the guys were sitting at. You guys
Mhm.
came in there, and they were kind of whispering amongst themselves. It was like,
Weird.
I think that's Steve Perry over there, and like he kind of would look over, but he didn't. John couldn't confirm whether or not yet that it was. He left not too much longer after you guys got there, and he turned and smiled at you guys and waved, and it was confirmed that it was him.
Interesting. No, I
You
knew
don't remember that?
I knew of Steve Perry then, so I would have definitely
Oh yeah,
remembered that.
everybody would know Steve
Right.
Perry.
Right.
Interesting. I'll let him know, or he can find out by listening. So, what was your thoughts on playing? Like, were you into the heavy music much?
Not I don't know if I was. I probably got more into heavy stuff later
Yeah,
in my time. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on what you call heavy, right?
yeah.
Um,
Not emotionally heavy, just like heavy riffs, like
right. I mean,
metal guitars
like
type of hardcore.
Fugazi and stuff like that were huge for me
Yeah,
back in those days.
I never even heard of Fugazi until I was early adult.
Yeah.
Um, it
Yeah,
just
that was
wasn't my scene whatsoever.
yeah, that was a big one for me.
Yeah. I like them now. Now that I mean, I shouldn't say I like them. There's some songs that I've listened to that
Uh-huh.
I find myself in my older years not ashamed of myself, but I missed out on some good music if I would have given it a chance.
Oh man, me too. Me too, big time. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. So, are you a guy that keeps? Are you a keeper of memorabilia of your past?
To a certain extent, like did you send me a couple like old flyers the other day?
I believe so. Yeah,
Yeah, because I have a bunch of those in a file as well.
nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was actually talking to John right before this. Told him you're going to be on. The one thing that upsets me about the old flyers, no one thought to put the year. It was just the
Yeah.
date, the
Right.
date of when it was going to happen. So it's hard to piece together when things happen.
Right. I
Um,
mean, I guess if they said like Friday, October 22nd, you could go figure
it'd be
that out.
91, 92,
Right.
93 ish. Yeah.
Or even if they said October 22nd, it's probably a Friday or a Saturday. So you could figure out
Yeah.
like within a 1 to 2 year range of when it was.
So I think this is the show. It was at John's. It was Blenderhead, The Wayouts, The Green, Undertow,
Mhm.
1007, and Refused.
Oh my God, so many bands.
Good bands too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good lineup for
Yeah.
the region.
Yeah.
That was
For
the
sure.
Hard Feelings. That was a Hard Feelings band there. That show.
Mhm.
I'm gonna see
That's
if it does
rad.
say a date. I don't think it does.
Side
Then
side note, the Way Outs, for anyone listening, the
yes.
drummer of the Way Outs, guy named Ned Brower, who was in a couple bands back in the day in the area, he lives in LA. If anyone listening has seen the HBO show The Pit about like emergency room, it's like ER on steroids.
Oh yeah.
So
I watch that.
Ned is on The Pit. He is Nurse Jesse. If you want to go back and be like, oh, that's that dude.
So I played a show with him.
Uh-huh.
2 shows.
Okay.
And the other one I showed you is 1007, The Green, The Wayouts, and Within at Mount Si High School.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So that would have been 93 probably.
Got it.
7:00 start time.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, that was from what I remember. That was a good show.
Yeah,
So
those all
we at
sound,
least have 2 shows together. For
yeah,
sure.
those all sound like really rad shows.
Oh, good. My cat's throwing up right next to me. That's good.
I can hear that
Can you hear it?
a little bit.
Jeez, my other cat yesterday was throwing up all.
Let's hope that's not the most interesting part of this interview.
I mean, hey, what did you get into? Well, I gotta text my son, have him come take care of this. Beautiful thing about this app, it'll just take out all this pause without
Oh,
me having to do it.
wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, she's still going. Wonder what she got into. That's you okay? Hey, you okay? You have animals? You do have
Yeah,
animals.
yeah, we got
Dogs?
two dogs. They were just slurping water out of the bowl behind us. I was wondering if that was coming through.
No, I didn't hear it. Are you
Nice.
more of a dog person?
I grew up more as a cat person, but now I've transitioned into a dog person.
Yeah. I'm definitely a cat person. My dad, which is weird. My dad is a cat person. His dad was a cat person. My son's a cat person. And I don't know if it was like my dad didn't teach me to like cats and dogs. I can take or leave dogs. I think. I mean, I like them enough.
I
But
like cats. We just
yeah.
had a dog that was like after cats would like literally would
No,
snap their necks. So we like
that's no
could
good.
could never have one.
Yeah.
That dog's gone, but whatever.
Okay. So within Quit, we did a name change too, right at the very end. I think we did one show as Till We Fall. We changed the name to that.
Okay.
That was our last show, and you guys kept going until what year did you say? You think?
Late 96 or early 97. The drummer of our band, the Kurt Cobain guy,
Yeah.
he was also in Red Rocket, which was like the next version of 1007, if you remember that band.
No, but that names make me laugh.
So yeah, Matt Suoka, the singer of
That's okay, yeah.
1007. It was his kind of next project, which lasted a few years.
Were you
He
friends with 1007? Not really.
not so much, more so later in life, but so he was in both bands, and that actually was somewhat of a little problem. It made it hard to do
Yeah.
both bands, so that's kind of why our band kind of stopped. I think there became some weird feelings around that, but yeah. So that's
Have you done many podcasts at all?
yeah, I've done a couple like for work
Yeah.
and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Nothing like just music based. I was kind
No.
of surprised you didn't do Dave's. Your bass player did, but I
Yeah.
thought maybe he would have had
Yeah,
you
yeah.
on there.
Nope.
Didn't even reach out.
Uh-uh.
Oh, interesting. It was weird how I came across it. I came across it just on YouTube. It was the episode with him and Greg Bennick.
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh, I remember those guys, and I listened to it, and I was just thinking about starting mine up, and I messaged him, and I sent him a video of us doing a cover of Integrity Misha. And he remembered, and he remembered he was kind of interested in putting us on his little label or whatever, which was our
Mhm.
goal. Anything to get signed, it didn't really matter. I just wanted to say I was in a signed band, but I never
Well,
did that.
I don't know why I'm blanking on his label. What was it called?
It's not Indecision. It was
Out of Bellingham, right?
well, he's from Bellingham.
He ran it originally out of that. I can't
It's
remember.
Excursion.
Yes.
Was it Excursion?
I think
Yeah.
so. That sounds very familiar.
Yeah, I think that was his. He didn't. I don't know
Anyways.
how many people he had on there. I know Undertow and 1007 were on there
Mm-hmm.
before.
Yeah.
I always thought Undertow would be bigger than they made it for some reason.
Yeah, who knows? They break up too soon or just
I don't. Yeah, I
did
don't
they-
know. I don't know what happened
Yeah.
to him.
who knows?
They kept having reunions and like people wanted them to keep playing, but I don't know if and they seem to all still get along. Like I saw some posts where they're all together just like hanging out.
Interesting.
Then I went to that show probably 10 years ago. They played at Numos.
Uh-huh.
I think Brotherhood did their last show,
Okay.
but they just used like the musicians from Undertow. Then it was Ron Gardapi singing.
Okay.
I was never a Brotherhood guy. I didn't know about them really.
Me either.
They're kings of the Pacific Northwest hardcore scene.
Right.
So,
right. You're talking to me. I like all this sissy music, and I don't know enough about all the hardcore heavy bands.
right. Yeah. That's kind of where I was at. I mean, our band wasn't hardcore. We were metal. We had that hardcore flair to it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I liked the style and I wanted to kind of incorporate more yelling in what I was doing and
Yeah.
my screaming, which I was able to do. So that was fun.
Nice.
Skippy. Yeah. Oh man, there's gonna be a lot of edits out of this show.
Uh-oh. Just watch where you step.
That's right. She ate a bunch of grass. Well, she must not just be feeling good. So where was I at?
Oh, you were asking. We talked about Dave's podcast. You asked
Oh,
if
yeah.
I'd done podcasts. Although I think that was a side note. We were talking about
Yeah.
something else.
So when did, after the Green were no more, you sent me that other that I've never heard of, the Kentucky Pistol. How long after the Green was that a thing?
It had to have been handful of years almost. That was probably 3 or 4 years gap at least.
Yeah.
And that was a band that some people in the band were in other bands. That band had, the name Rocky Vodolato?
Yes.
Yeah, he played drums in that band, which was like his learning band to play drums in.
She was a guitar player singer, right? And he's doing solo acoustic stuff now, right?
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. So he played drums in that band, and there were a couple other cool old guys from the scene. Trying to think of what bands they were in. They were in a band. One of them was in a band called Runaway Laughing.
Hmm.
Anyways, that was a really fun band, and because people were distracted with other projects, that band would play. We would like practice once every 6 months, and we would just to play a show. So we would play
Yeah.
like a show every 6 months or a year, but we would play shows and people would be like, "Holy shit! Like you guys could take over," because it was such a fun, quirky, screamy punk,
Yeah.
interesting. Like the songwriting was kind of weird. So yeah, that was a really fun band, and I'm sad it didn't do a little bit more because I think it could
So
have.
how did that come about? Were you asked? Did you form it?
I didn't actually. I joined it. I mean, they weren't really doing anything. Like I don't think they were playing shows or anything by the time I joined it. So I joined pretty
Pretty
early.
early. Yeah.
But yeah, that was a super fun one.
And where did that name come from?
I don't know. Someone else in the band
Actually,
kind
where
of.
did the Green come from?
I don't know. The green came from Derek, the grumpy face guy,
Yeah.
as huggable teddy bear grumpy face guy. He
Still
just like
friends with him?
yeah. I actually was texting him the other day randomly.
Nice.
Not that often, but he passed around a list at his high school, just like with a few band names, or like people gave suggestions or something, and
Oh, really? You had a
we,
public vote?
we ended up just choosing it for some reason.
Oh, that's nice.
I don't know why we liked that one, but we did.
Simple, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, band. I just talked about this in my last podcast. Naming of the bands are always interesting to me. Kind of an interesting
Oh,
story, and seeing if people remember. And it's agonizing, and nobody ever agrees.
yeah. It's also crazy because like there have been so many mediocre bands that have gotten kind of far because they have a cool name,
Yeah,
or the other way around, right? There've been a band that just has the worst name ever, and they're actually pretty good, and they just can't break through because it's
yeah.
just a hideous name.
Or the case of they're pretty good. They have a weird name, and they do still make it.
Mm.
If you like the Foo Fighters, they hated that name, from what I understand.
Oh,
But
they did?
yeah,
Oh, that's funny.
well, it was Dave. He did that first album all on his own. He didn't even
Mm-hmm.
have a band. He just did it and named it just because he wanted to start playing music again. And he didn't think it was
Mm-hmm.
going to go anywhere, so he just did that.
That's
So,
funny.
I think my favorite memory of my playing is one of them is I got to record at that same studio that he recorded that whole first Foo Fighters album, Bob Lang Studios.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've recorded there.
Oh, you have?
Yeah,
Nice.
that place is insane.
Such like that should not be a recording studio.
Oh my
Rock wall,
god.
stone walls, and
Well, especially if you go like deep into the belly where they've like unearthed like inside the hillside, like these giant like 50-foot weird room. Like it's
yeah,
yeah.
that's where the I don't know if you watched Sonic Highways. Did you watch that
Yeah,
documentary?
yeah.
Yeah, where they're talking about that's where the orchestra pit was supposed to be. And
Got
I don't
it.
know if they actually finished it or not. Yeah, I got some pictures of when we did that. Our guitar player was an intern there, so
Oh,
instead of
cool.
him getting paid, they gave him free studio time when
Nice.
someone
Yeah,
was
yeah.
available.
Yeah, even my son has recorded something there, which is pretty rad.
It's such a cool studio.
Yeah,
Oh,
for sure.
when did you guys record there? And
Oh,
which band?
it was my band called the Naudits,
Okay.
and we recorded there probably I want to say about 4 years before the pandemic. So whenever that was, probably yeah, sometime
Yeah.
2015, 16, somewhere in that window.
Yeah. I was about 2003,
Okay,
2004, something like that,
okay,
with the band 30s Burning,
okay,
which never did anything. We never had a drummer, so I would program the drum machine. Well, we did. Sorry, we did have a drummer when we recorded there. We had a drummer, but we didn't really like his style, so we
okay.
booted him. Tried out a couple of other drummers, and just nothing really fit. So we just recorded a whole album with the drum machine, but only one song at that studio. Then he was friends with the main engineer from Bob Lang Studios, and he had like Pro Tools and stuff. So we did the rest of it from his house.
Did you ever
But
put
yeah,
it
that
out? Did it ever come together?
no,
Yeah,
no. I don't know if I sent you a link to it or not. It's
I don't
different.
think so.
I'll send you one when we
Cool.
get done. It's a good mix of like me actually singing and some screamy stuff and light
Nice.
stuff, and it was a weird time. Our guitar player was, I'm sure he won't mind. He'll be on here later too. He was on drugs pretty heavily.
Mm.
I was going through my separation divorce at the time. My brother was in the band, Chad. He was kind of in it, but kind of not, because he was also going through massage school, which like occupied a ton of his mind and a ton of his time. Plus working at the same time as doing that. So it was a rough one to like keep together and keep
Dark,
going.
dark
So
album, probably, huh?
there's some things in there that are, there's stuff about my separation. There's political stuff in there. There's stuff aimed at. I talked about it with John, where I wrote a song about him
Huh?
when
I
I
heard
felt
that
that he
part.
when I felt he abandoned like everybody up here, and I wrote a
Yeah,
song
yeah.
about that, which maybe I'll share with him. He'll hear the lyrics and maybe figure it out. But he's definitely heard the song, but he had no idea it was about him.
Yeah,
Um,
he seems kind of shocked when you brought that up. He's like, "Oh, really?"
yeah, I didn't.
I was
First
like,
time I heard of it.
"Awkward, awkward."
Yeah, yeah, we did some a little bit of cleansing of our past in that podcast, which was
Yeah.
nice.
No, it seemed like it went
Um,
well.
yeah, like you said, him and his parents kept me in the divorce. I mean,
Nice.
we've remained friends this whole time. So,
That's rad. Yeah, that's great.
and now that we're older and our kids are, which is funny, our kids are way older than we were when we were in the music scene, because I got my son just turned 30, my daughter's 25,
Totally.
and his kids are 30 and 29.
That's
So,
wild.
or 31 and 29. Krista,
Yeah,
you remember Krista probably?
yeah.
She
I
was
don't
around. She was
know.
around
Like,
the shows.
yeah, you guys got an early start. Even I got an early start
Mhm.
from compared to most of my friends, and you're way ahead of me.
Yeah. How old are your kids? How many do you have?
I have two boys. Are one's almost 21, and that'll
Okay.
make the other ones will be like 22 and a half. They're a year and a half apart.
Okay. So you started about 30?
No, I was like 26,
Oh, 26. Okay.
27.
Okay. Yeah.
I
I
guess I guess by the time I had them, yeah, I was like 27, almost 28, something like
yeah.
that.
I was 20 when my son was born.
Yeah.
Not to incriminate myself, but his mother was 17, so she even had an earlier start.
Hmm.
um, then 25 when. So it's funny now, like my daughter's 25, and it's like weird for me to where she's at and how she lives her life, which is totally different, which is fine. She's a Seattle kid and likes to go to bars, and she works at a bar.
Hmm.
But like I was a father of two by the time I was 25, and trying to make things work, which was
Yeah, for sure.
different time, but a little easier to do it back then.
Yeah, what do you think you'd have done if had you not had kids? Would you have like been doing
Um,
something different? Think you'd have
I would
done more
have.
music?
Oh, I would have definitely done more music. I would have
Yeah.
tried to make it work, because I think Within could have done something if situation was different. We had everybody on board. I think we had the music for it. Um, so, but like you said, timing. But I would have
Yeah.
made a full on effort to do it. That's all I ever wanted to do from when I was probably eighth grade when I got my first guitar.
Hmm.
We didn't have like these little visions of going on little tours. We got our guitars and we were going to be, in arenas and stadiums like Kiss was, because
Yes.
that was our dream. Which is funny. My brother, when we were recording 30s Burning, he would judge the parts that he wanted to play by if we were on stage in a stadium and he hits his bass note, he wanted the lights to light up. So he wanted the sound that he was
Oh,
making to
be in
match
control. Yeah.
the light show that never happened.
Oh, that's
So,
hilarious.
I mean, we always had just these grand thoughts of grandeur of what we wanted our music career to be. He's way more active musically than I have been in my adult life. He didn't.
Oh yeah.
He never had kids. Um,
Fucking
so
kids, man.
I don't know.
Waste of time.
Right? Waste of time, waste of money.
Exactly.
So we had I did 30s Burning until I moved over to the east side, Coulee City because my life was kind of falling apart. Then, not to make this podcast about me, but I was asked to be a drummer by a local bar band here,
Mm-hmm.
um, which I'd never done. I'd kind of fiddled around on the drums, but no way in any shape or form I was a drummer.
Uh-huh.
Um, they asked me to drum for them. I didn't want to, but I agreed to go try out.
Uh-huh.
Open Friday night, 8 o'clock. Hey, come try out.
Oh my God.
Customers.
Wow.
I thought it was going to be a little private,
Oh
doors shut, and I
Jesus.
was like, nope, nope.
And yeah, and how'd it go?
I played with them for 6.5 years, so probably okay.
Okay. Yeah, drums.
Yeah.
I love drums. Drums are the best. I mean, I played
You play?
drums. I played drums for like 6 months in a band.
Yeah.
And I mean, my problem once again is that I'm left-handed, right? So like
Oh,
my son's drums are set up. I can't just go down and play. Like I have to switch everything around, so it's like not worth it. So I haven't played for a long time just because
yeah.
I'm trying to get a setup in a rehearsal space we're working on, that's big enough that maybe we can have 2 drum sets there, so I can just have one set up for me just for messing
Nice.
around. I
Yeah.
mean, it would take a while to get any kind of chops back up, and I wasn't that amazing, but drums are the best. There's like if I watch a band live, if I don't, who cares if their guitar player is good? Who you
Yeah.
know, bass player, good bass player is pretty cool, but like
Mhm.
a good drummer is just like mesmerizing. Like that's who you're watching, right? Like
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
my
Because it
god.
cuts through everything. Do you consider yourself a lazy musician, or do you work at it?
Yes, I would say lazy if I had to choose.
Okay.
That being said, the band I'm in now, um, I do have to do some solos, so I actually have to try and practice and learn to play those as accurately as possible.
I think that's one of my biggest problems, and probably why I haven't succeeded at a lot of things that I've tried. Because if it doesn't come easy for me at first, I don't
Mhm.
want to work at. Well, actually, two things. If it doesn't come easy for me at first, I don't want to work at it.
Mhm.
But if it does come easy for me, I still don't want to work at it because if it came easy to me, why do I need to work at it?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so
Although that being said, I think what I think I could say this without being terribly egotistical. Like I've learned to become a performer more than like a technical shredder. So I've always put a lot of weight on like
yeah,
being good
stage
enough,
presence.
like so I can have, good, I can hold down the rhythm and I can play and sing and do all that stuff at the same time. But be able to be good at like talking with the crowd and good at, yeah, having stage presence and being entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I was never good at talking with the crowd. One thing that I always felt weird, I would sing, I'd do those, deep growls and yells and stuff, and that would affect my voice and make it sound higher. So
Oh,
like
funny.
when my talking voice would be high and I didn't like the sound of it, so I didn't like really talking to me sweet songs. I'd like maybe say the name of it, but I wasn't engaging with the crowd.
Oh, it's well,
I
it's
found that hard.
and what's tricky too, especially with voice stuff, like I know this, like the band I'm in now has 2 women who also sing and, figuring out who's going to talk between songs and things like that. It's like when you're addressing a crowd, if you say like, "Hey, is everybody having fun tonight?" And if you say it in that voice
Yeah,
versus "Is everybody having fun tonight?" You have to push it to like make it sound exciting rather than you're just talking in your normal talking voice,
yeah,
right? And that's also like kind of taxing on your voice if you're screaming the whole time between
right,
songs, then you have
yeah,
no voice to sing the song. So it's like
yeah. I
it's a
was
little
just a talker. I didn't try to get anybody hyped.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
The only thing I would do if people were sitting down in between, or there was one incident where we started and like this whole part, it was the Bellevue show. I don't, did you ever play, oh man, now it's slipping my
Ground
Ground
Zero.
Zero. Did you ever
Yeah.
play Ground Zero? Okay.
Yeah, multiple times for sure.
Yeah. So we were playing Ground Zero, um,
Mhm.
Botch, Undertow, and I think Spearhead, maybe, or Balance of the World. I don't know what they were at the time,
Yeah,
but
it's
we
just
started playing. We were the opener and we started playing and half the crowd was sitting down.
so funny.
I just like got on the microphone. I said, "Stand up!" Like just demanding them to like stand up, and everybody's like, "Whoop!" up in the air. They
Oh,
stood up
nice.
and like got into the show after that. So that was good.
Did you guys
But
open?
yeah, we were the first band.
Well,
Yeah,
there you go. Way to start it off.
no kidding. Yeah,
Way to tell them what's up.
we had some interest in us there because John Pettibone really liked us. So he told all of his friends about us, and like
Mhm.
there was talk about there's I heard like within blah blah blah, in passing and stuff. So I thought we were gonna really take off after that show, but whatever. We
Yeah,
didn't,
yeah.
but it was a fun experience anyway.
Yeah. John's a great dude. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So I wanted to talk to you about so first of all, Kentucky Pistol. How long did that go?
It just went. I mean, it was like a band that probably existed for like 5 years because we just played so sporadically. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, it just kind of fell apart because people had went and did their own projects, and it could never. We recorded those songs though, so that
Which
was.
it was good. I just listened to it. Like I said, I want to do some homework.
And they
I did
never
too.
it was never put out, but yeah, it was fun to do that. I'm glad we have that because that was a
So
fun band.
where did you record it? When you do stuff and you don't put it out, did you guys record it yourselves? Did you go to a studio?
We went to a studio. You know who Jake Snyder is?
Yeah.
He recorded that
Okay.
at some weird place in like Renton. I don't even know where it was, but yeah, that was fun. It was going to be put out, I think, but it just never got there. I don't fully remember the story.
I have a funny story about Jake. My daughter worked at a coffee shop in Puyallup,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like, she was telling me a story about like the singer of one of her favorite bands, just like is a regular there, comes in and drinks coffee, and is like minus the bear. It was Jake.
Mm-hmm.
Like she had no idea the connection of like if she would have just went over and told her who like her uncle and grandparents were, and like he would
Right.
totally know who she was,
That is
and that kind of
funny.
freaked her out a little bit.
That is funny. Yeah, I'm glad for those guys. I just saw them play the other night. They did a secret show.
Yeah.
That was like one day announcement, and it's cool. It was so heartwarming to watch like all their super fans just be so stoked that they're at this private show, and
Yeah.
they're knocking off the rust to do a reunion tour. And I
Nice.
don't know, it's just cool to see someone from the old scene
My friend
having.
requested Dave Knutson
Yeah,
to
yeah.
try to see if he would want to be on here. I don't know.
Oh
He
yeah,
hasn't
yeah.
responded to it yet. Maybe he does. He may not do Facebook that much.
Maybe not. Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think if I ever see him post there.
I did do security for him once. It was Snapcase and Botch played at some place up north, like almost to maybe Shoreline or
Okay.
whatever. It was a weird club, a checkerboard, like black and white checkerboard on painting on the outside.
Interesting.
But they didn't have security, so I had to do security for him for
Oh,
that show.
nice. Nice.
And played, the early Botch show with them. They were just starting out when we played that show at Ground Zero.
Right.
So they may have played. No, I'm trying to think. Did they play before us or play after us? I can't remember. So I think we were a little more established than they were.
Yeah, those guys.
when we played
Those guys did a reunion tour a handful of years ago too, like
Yeah.
Japan and stuff. And
that new song they put out was amazing.
Those guys were bigger than I remember. I mean, they were super good, and I just wasn't into that type of music then. And it was like seeing them do that reunion tour. I'm like, holy shit! Like you guys.
From what I understand, from what John was saying, they like got even more popular after they stopped playing. Like,
that makes sense.
They just had this like cult following that started really getting into them.
Yeah, because they were super good.
Yeah, he said they did a couple shows down in California where the places held like 5,000 people and sold it out.
Yeah, I mean, they might have been very ahead of their time with like how they were writing those songs.
Yeah, because they were good.
Yeah,
or they got good
for sure. Yeah.
I think they had a little bit of a slow start, but so let's go to the Not It's. How did that happen?
It's also known as the No Tits, as only men will point out.
Right.
And we're not the No Tits because we have two women in the band.
Right.
But okay, the Not It's. So wasn't playing music for a while, just because we were having kids and doing that thing. You know how that goes, right? Kind of you hunker down and kind of takes you out of the scene for a while. But there was a band called Velocity Girl. Does that ring a bell to you at all? So Velocity Girl was from DC, and they had fucking videos on MTV and stuff. Like not normal MTV, but like 120 minutes, like the after hours style MTV. So I knew I had seen their videos on there, I was in high school. I was in the Sub Pop Singles Club, which was where Sub Pop, like every month they would send you two 7-inch records, 245s, nice. Right? Mm-hmm. Bands you've never heard of, or bands you have heard of. I have some pretty cool, maybe potentially valuable old records that I was, like some colored vinyl Nirvana ones and stuff like that.
Were they bands that were on Sub Pop, or they would just put
Yeah.
out unsigned stuff.
Well, both. It would be bands on
Yeah.
Sub Pop, or like, Smashing Pumpkins was one of them. Like they put out just
Interesting.
one 7-inch with Sub Pop.
Hmm.
And anyways, this band Velocity Girl from DC was on a split 7-inch with a band called Tsunami, and whatever. I had that record. It didn't stand out to me. I didn't listen to it. I wasn't a big fan, but but I mentioned that show I played at the Velvet Elvis with Sicko and a band called Whirlybird from Richmond, Virginia. So
Yeah.
guy that I stayed in touch with from Whirlybird over the years, with handwritten letters that I would mail to him, because we're fucking old. But he decides to move out to Seattle, and he comes and lives with me. Whatever. He's now in Seattle for a few years, and he ends up dating this girl who was the singer of Velocity Girl. I'm like, oh, I fucking remember that band. And I'm like, oh, what's up? I have your record, Sarah.
Nice.
And so we started to get to know Sarah because they started dating. They ended up getting married. And then she was in the midst throughout those few years of just like doing solo music. There was a label called Minty Fresh out of, I think, Chicago.
Okay.
They put out, if you looked up Minty Fresh, you would know a few bands on their roster. But they had a side label called Mini Fresh, which was for kids.
Okay, nice.
And this was like as the golden age of children's music started to develop. Like
the Wiggles?
No, that's like children's TV show that has songs.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about, and this should show you what the difference is that I'm saying when I say this. Bands like They Might Be Giants, you've heard of that band, right?
Yes.
Like they put out a kids album that was like wildly successful, so people all of a sudden had this desire to like actually have real bands making songs for kids.
So when you say kids, album, like lyrics directed towards kids, or the whole sound, the whole music and everything?
I mean, They Might Be Giants is kind of a band that has a quirky, soft
Do they have
sound.
a horn section?
I don't know if they have a horn section. I don't know them. I don't know them that well, but like,
okay.
I would bet if you listen to.
For some reason, I thought they were ska, like a ska band.
They're not a ska band. They're just like.
Okay. I'm thinking that's what it is then.
They're just like a quirky band that tries to be clever and funny with their lyrics. But I would bet if you listen to one of their normal albums, you just sub in kids' lyrics and you could be like, oh, this would work, So I don't think it was too far from what their normal sound was, but whatever. They did a couple albums and it was like huge. And Sarah's label at the time that she was doing solo music, they're like, why don't you do a kids album? And so she told me that, and I'm like, what's up, girl? I'll help you do that. Like I can get on board with trying to make this be something that's interesting and not like ABC, la. Like, let's make it cool. And so she's like, all right, I'm like, I'll find other people. I'll put together the band. And so I found friends that were willing to do it. And we.
Now, was your wife in the band?
Nope.
Okay. For some reason, I thought she was.
She plays in my current band,
okay,
which is an 80s cover band.
Sweet.
Carl, if you want to talk about how I've arrived. Yeah. I mean, I went from playing punk music to playing music for kids, and now I play in an 80s cover band. I mean, nice. Come on.
I mean, my bar band was completely covers,
If I'll give out my mailing address to anyone listening if they want to send in fan mail now that they know I'm in all these cool bands.
Yeah, I might.
So anyways, back to my stepping stone of lameness. No, so we all started playing in this kids band, and so members of this band are Sarah, who was in Velocity Girl, who played like stadium festivals with Public Enemy, when she was nice. in Velocity Girl. Like she's done big things.
Yeah.
We've got the drummer from Harvey Danger is the drummer in this band. The other guitar players was in this rad band from Richmond, Virginia called Action Patrol. They were
Harvey Danger's Seattle?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Tom was in a band called Action Patrol. They were pretty big on the East Coast. Jenny, the bass player, she was in a band called Micro Mini, which had a moment in Seattle. So whatever. This band had like a little bit of street cred. Like we're not just going to play lullabies. Like we're going to try to make cool songs. So as we're doing this band, it, for the first little bit, like a year or two, we're just like embarrassed as fuck to explain what kind of band we're in to anyone who like wants to hear about it. And we used to refer to it as the burning shame, we're
Right.
like, yeah, this, when someone would be like, oh, you're in this band called the Naudits, or like, I saw you guys play. You're like, oh God, I'm sorry. And and then it quickly transitioned.
Was it becoming because you weren't getting any traction, or you were kind of embarrassed?
More the latter. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
traction was there, and the surprising thing about this style of music, which is so rad, is there are budgets for this kind of music, and there's such a desire for it. Like every town in the area, like city of Kirkland, city of whatever, you pick a city, they have their
Okay.
summer concert series,
Yeah.
where they're like, we will pay you $1,000 or to come play, for an hour on, you know, Tuesday morning at 10:30.
Nice.
And so not only are you not like staying up late
Yeah.
playing in bars, not
Mhm.
trying to like beg all your friends to come out and watch you on a Thursday night, you're like
Yeah.
built-in crowds, people looking for shit to do with their kids. Um Budget, like we're like making money.
Nice.
Not like it's paying our bills, but like
Yeah.
the band fund
Making it worth it.
the band fund is plentiful, and if we
Yeah.
want to spend like $10,000 on an album because we want like a better studio experience of like
Yeah.
of recording at Robert Lang, or like
Mhm.
paying someone who knows what they're doing to like
Yeah.
engineer us, and maybe, yeah, so like that part of it was rad. And if we ever had to like travel anywhere, we could like cover flights, like, so like that whole scene. So this band went from it very quickly went from the burning shame, just because we were like kind of embarrassed by it, to like, hell yeah, I'm in this thing called the Naudits.
Mhm.
And like the Naudits resume is, we played in India, we played in China,
Dude,
we played Lollapalooza the same year that like The Cure and
what the shit?
all these other, like I got to stand on the side of the stage and watch The Cure play because I had backstage access,
So
and
I'm
because,
literally friends with someone famous. That's pretty cool.
and like, we would and that band was busy, like we would play like 50 or 60 shows a year for years, for like the that band was a band for like 17 years. We kind of just called it quits.
Damn.
But like at our peak, we were doing, so much that like our family and our kids were just like, oh, like another Naudits concert. Like I guess we're all going
Right.
there this
Yeah.
weekend. But we would get to do cool things. Like a couple of years in a row, we played Legoland's New Year's Eve celebration. So our whole family got to come for free.
Nice.
Our kids are at Legoland in San Diego for New
Right.
Year's. Like that's
Yeah.
pretty rad. So,
So how did it go over at Lollapalooza with that style of music?
oh, I mean, Lollapalooza in Chicago,
Built
like
in?
it doesn't rove anymore city to city. It's just
Right.
in Chicago. It's
Yeah.
like 100,000 people there. It's like insanely huge.
3 second
Um,
stage?
no, they might even have like more than 7 stages.
Oh,
So the kid stage, nobody's watches.
yeah.
Like that show itself wasn't great, but being able to be there and get all the free drinks for everyone in the band who drinks and their spouses, and and essentially that the park they do it in, Grant Park, is a mile long. So you have the two main stages are like a mile apart. But being able to be backstage and be like, I would like to go over to the other main stage now, please, boy. And someone takes you in a golf
The
cart
golf cart? Yeah.
behind the scenes and drives you over there, and
Just to say you played Lollapalooza is enough.
yeah,
I don't care if anybody watched me or not.
totally. But there was some rad, we were just looking at the lineup recently and we're like, holy shit, Kendrick Lamar played that,
Damn.
who like maybe wasn't as big at the time. Like I
Yeah.
wasn't even paying attention that he played that. But like, yeah, I can be like, yeah, I played a show with The Cure, and
Who was the
yeah,
headliner that year? Was
oh,
it The Cure?
the Cure was one of them. Mumford and Sons was another one. New Order was one. I mean, it was like multiple nights. Yeah, Queens of the Stone Age played. Vampire
Mhm.
Weekend. There were lots of
With
big.
Grohl playing, or before or after that?
It was probably after. So yeah, that band had an epic run, and we played, more than 500 shows. Like, and the cool thing about that band, that's where I learned to be a pretty good performer, is because with that band, half of what you do is your banter with the kids
Mhm.
and with the
Yeah.
crowd, and with the parents.
And you gotta make it PG.
And the other half is the songs themselves. Yeah.
'Cause it's either the still shots that I saw from you guys posting or short-lived videos, you doing the jump kicks when you're playing and, like,
Yeah.
really performing and being hyper. It just looked like so much fun. Um, so and I did text you earlier asking because I wasn't sure if I heard it right or correctly or read it, but there was Grammy talk with you
Oh yeah,
guys
yeah.
in. for kids? Was it a kids music like category?
There is a kids music category, and yeah,
Okay.
Grammys. I know a few people who are involved with the Grammys,
Okay.
like like board Pacific Northwest board chapter, like president, or like I've known some people to be involved in that. So I don't want to shit on the Grammys too much, but the Grammys are a total crock of shit
Yeah.
in my opinion. Like it literally is the person that's willing to like go sit at a coffee shop and network with other Grammy voters and be like, "Hey, I know you have a new wave jazz album, that's also that's
Yeah.
also a category that no one cares about.
Hmm.
If you vote for my record, I'll vote for yours." It's like
Right.
that's how you win a
Pay all of
Grammy.
them. Yeah.
It's like such a crock of shit. Um anyways, we were yeah,
Again,
we
I would not give a shit if someone said if I could say I was in a band that had Grammy interest. I mean, it sounds good. People don't know the inside workings of it. It sounds awesome.
right. Yeah, yeah. So you
So
submit your stuff, and if you like make it, you can get on the list of like the 50 that get voted
yeah.
down to the 5 to be on the
Hmm.
ballot. So yeah.
So who since you don't really like the Grammys, why was that decision made to submit?
We didn't really realize that that's like what was going on, or that's what it would take
Oh,
to
okay.
win
Yeah.
until that, then we see in our weird category, we've known a couple awesome people who have won, and they do probably deserve it. But I do also know that they've had to do that form of networking, which just has never felt great. Like
Yeah.
just submit it and see what happens, right?
So were you guys on any kind of label doing that, or is it all self?
Nope, all self released.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Then you get to keep the money.
Yeah, and I mean that's what's weird too is like that band, we haven't put out a new album since like a couple years before the pandemic, so like
Hmm.
2017 probably.
Yeah.
Um I don't know, I probably still get like let me think. I don't know. Probably still get somewhere between like $3,000 and $5,000 a year on royalties.
Really
Yeah, I mean like
funny.
at the peak we were probably getting like 10 grand each. Yeah,
Nice.
I'll
Do
take
you
that.
so are you on was it on what does that come from? The streaming services?
Obviously we've all heard all that shit about um Spotify and how they rob people and pay out
Yes.
so poorly. You have to get like hundreds of spins to get a penny, right?
Well,
Um,
John's. Let me cut you off. Just John's band. His last band that he was in, Rally Cry.
mhm,
He showed me they had 20 something thousand plays.
right.
74 cents.
God, it's such a crock. I
What
mean,
the hell?
you wonder why it costs like $150 to go see a band nowadays, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like the
That's
only way they
how
can
they
make
make the money.
money.
Yeah.
But Sirius XM radio is the one that pays out really well.
Oh,
I mean, obviously they're like a subscriber service, so people are paying to have that. But like, if one of those other services is a fraction of a penny to get, for payout, like Sirius XM's closer to like a quarter every time you get played.
so how
So
do they know? Like, how do they know?
they have a kids station. They have a station called Kids Place Live, and we were
I guess I'm asking, how do they know what to play and what's still popular? Is it just feedback from
yeah they
where
have
people call in or request? Like,
their
yeah,
model has changed recently where they're
yeah,
like trying to AI everything, right, and get rid of actual live DJs. But they had live DJs, and we knew those people because we would see them at things on the East Coast,
yeah.
and so there was a little bit of networking there with like they would see you and see
Mhm.
that you're good and be like, so yeah, that's how that developed.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's really fascinating world.
So this current band you're doing now, like where are you at in the stage of being a band and where do you want to take it and what do you want to do with it?
Right. So the scrunchies, it's called the scrunchies, like the thing you put in your
Yeah.
hair or
Yes.
your long beard.
Yeah.
Um, uh, and that band is rad because in the Naudits, not only did I learn the liquid gold fact about playing in bands that playing with the women is a pretty rad thing. Because if I'm walking by a band playing somewhere at a festival and they're just a bunch of dudes, like that's cool. I've seen that
Keep going. Yep.
1,000 times. But if you see like a women or two in the band, you're like, oh, what's going on here?
Yeah.
That's a little more interesting.
Yeah. Especially
And
singing.
totally. So
Yeah.
the Naughtets had 2 women, which was super fun to be in. And this 80s band, the Scrunchies, has more women than men. It has 4 women and 3 men, one of which is my wife, who
Okay.
when this, whatever, not to tell too long of a story, but I've been in a version of an 80s band for more than 20 years.
Yeah.
Like whether it be like kind of a joke or like 30% serious. Like someone had, the first time this band started, someone had an 80s party and they're like, you guys should learn some songs. And we're like, all right. And so we did it. And then people who saw that show were like, come play my work party, come play this. So it developed into a few shows.
So when you say 80s band, like what are 80s new wave pop, that kind of stuff?
More new wave pop, like Jesse's Girl and the Go-Go's and Melt With You, that kind of stuff. But the band would, over a 20 something year period, it would like do a few things and then not exist for 4 years, do a few things, all with different members along the way. And the last time I did it was with a bunch of people I worked with who like weren't that strong on musicians, where you'd be like, cool, we're at rehearsal and I'm watching you learn your parts. Like, come on. So I was like, I'm not really into that anymore. When someone had the need for it to start up again, I was like, yeah, I'm not too sure. But I was like, all right, I'll do it if I can pick the band members. And so
I like when you throw your weight around. It's nice.
Right. So I was like, I'm going to have my son play drums because he kicks ass and he's been raised on all this shit and he like can play it in his sleep. And then we're going to teach my wife to play bass out of scratch, from scratch, from her never playing an instrument before. So within a month, she played like 8 songs at a concert. So that was
nice.
Pretty awesome. I'm super proud of her. And now, 2 years later, she plays like 40 different songs, so she's like, and she's holding it together. She's not the most pro, but she like totally holds it down and she's still learning, but it's fun. I mean, we played the governor's ball when he was elected. So that was pretty rad. There was like 3,000 people there, all totally dancing, having a good time. Cool. So yeah, we're getting better and starting to try to play bigger and better things.
Yeah. My, the bar band I was in, the Hooligans, it was like 75, 80 song repertoire.
Damn.
Because we had to play, we were the act. When you play for a bar, you play from 10 o'clock till 2 o'clock. So we had 4 hours, so we had to fill up.
Torture on your voice, man.
Well, I was drumming.
Yeah.
So it's torture on my body.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that was different. That was interesting, trying to learn on the fly.
Yeah.
I had to learn stuff pretty quickly.
Oh my God. What kind of stuff was that? Everything, I bet, right?
Yeah, anything from Bill Withers to Duran Duran to Bon Jovi, anything. Our singer would like look up the #1 songs for, this year, for every year, like from 70s to
oh my God,
late 80s, and we'd try to learn all those songs. We would just things that people they're gonna like,
right?
So a few country songs, Friends in Low Places,
nice.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, our rule
John
is
Denver.
If we're considering songs, our rule is like, okay, let's all sit around. If we think this is a good song, let's press play. If within like 3 seconds you're not like, yes, if it takes you a minute to warm into it, you're like, fuck it. People aren't going to recognize it right away like you want. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite song to play?
In that
and you're
band?
A guitar player, singer?
Yeah. So I'm the male voice, and then there's 2 other women that sing.
Okay. Do you harmonize?
I don't know. Yeah, we do lots of that stuff. Yeah, it's a good band as far as like some of that. And our guitar player's super good, the lead guy, so he can like, You Shook Me All Night Long. He's busting out that solo, like all the solos he like kind of nails. I don't know. I would say things like, I don't know, Footloose is a really fun song to play. Speaking of that original record that I got. Yeah, things like Jesse's Girl, there's lots of good rad songs.
We could never figure out Jesse's Girl. We tried, and like when we did try, we had one of the guitar players was not up to snuff. So
interesting. And I have to play this.
Go ahead.
I play the solo on that one too. So that's like, I'm like, oh God, I better get my chops up for this.
Yeah. I always wanted to play Let the Good Times Roll, but that upstroke timing that song has, I knew he wouldn't be able to figure that, because that's my favorite song of all time.
That's a good one.
But I never got a chance to play it.
Yeah, Just What I Needed is on our list by the Cars. That's a rad one.
Cars are pretty underrated.
Oh, so good. I would put Cars in my top 10 bands of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I ask people to choose between the Cars and the Police. and I'm much more of a cars guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you?
Both rad. I mean, yeah, I would say I'm more cars for
Cars.
sure, but police are
Yeah.
also like, I don't know. What blows my mind about the police is like if you saw the police early in their days, you're just like at a small venue and they started playing, you were like, "Whoa, like what is this sound?" Like their sound is so unique for
Yeah.
back then. You're probably like, "What the fuck is this?"
Right.
Yeah, they're probably
Yeah.
kind of mind-blowing.
Cool. So, all right, we're going on an hour and 45. I think we can
Yeah.
wrap this up. We kind of went from the beginning of your life to your current situation playing music. I appreciate you being on.
Yeah, man. It
I
was
learned a
great.
lot of stuff about you that I didn't realize. I'm pretty impressed with your resume. So,
All music. We pretty much just all went music.
oh yeah. Yeah, sometimes we veer off on other I can have you back. We can talk about
No,
other things. We can talk about real
no,
estate.
nobody wants to talk about boring real estate. Uh,
Yeah. But you seem to be pretty successful at your real estate.
yeah, yeah. Well, that one quick side note
Yeah.
is at risk of totally having a big head. I do like I produce. I sell more real estate than anyone I know. Most people I know. Like I'm in
Yeah.
the top 1/2 of 1% in the state, right? And
Jeez.
it's so interesting when I run into people that know me from the days we're talking about
Hmm.
when we were just a bunch of douchey punk, just
Yeah.
snot nosed kids, right?
Hmm.
And you're like, no, I'm actually pretty good at this. And they're like, sure, right?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a weird sell. Hey, that wasn't a
Yeah.
cat. That didn't
That
sound like
was
a
not a
cat.
cat. No, that was Renee's dog.
Nice.
I don't claim him. We don't get along very well.
Oh, nice.
He
But
does
yeah,
not like me for some reason.
but real estate is weird having found a career that I'm good at.
Yeah.
From what kind of like we all came from back in the scene. I'm fortunate that I have a
Yeah.
job that I really like.
Yeah.
So
And that you're good at it, and I'm sure paying plenty of bills for you.
it
Because
does help.
you don't deal with low price housing. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I whatever I deal with. I have sold recently like a $200,000 condo, but yeah, but the
Oh, I was
average,
gonna say a shed. What do you
yeah,
get for 200,000 these days?
not much. I
Right.
know in Seattle, but yeah,
Yeah.
it does help send that kid to that expensive music school in
Yeah.
Boston. That's for
That-
sure.
well, good. I'm impressed that you found a career that you do like and you are good at. Obviously.
Yeah, man, it's
So
lucky, fortunate.
yeah. All right, Dan. We're gonna wrap this up. If we want to do this again, we'll come back to it. It
Yeah,
was fun.
yeah. Thanks,
Like I
man.
said, I learned a lot of things, and I'm sure people will enjoy this.
Right on. Yeah,
All
thanks for
right.
having me. It was a good
Yeah.
time.
Thanks for being on.
All right, you
dude.
bet.
We'll see
Bye.
you. Bye.